Peace, peace, peace. I am Phillip Roundtree, and you are tuned into the January 4th edition of Rhetorically Speaking. It's a new year, it's a new me. I'm like 10 minutes late. If you want to know the reason why I'm 10 minutes late, you know how I like to put up my little pictures in the corner. And so it was hard trying to find something for the movie Soul. For whatever reason, it just wasn't working in this OBS system. It might be above some of y'all pay grade. For those of you who know about OBS and about live streaming outside of Instagram, it can be quite a task. It can be difficult, man. So hence the reason why I'm starting like 10 minutes late. But yo, shout out to everybody who is tuned in on Facebook Live. Definitely appreciate you. Shouts to everybody who's watching on YouTube Live. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's a new year, but it's the same old goal is to be able to monetize on YouTube in the year 2044. And so that can only happen if y'all hit that subscribe button. And last but not least, props to the people who are tuned in on Instagram Live, the stragglers. Shout out to my homie, I Am Fishing, DJ Fishing, who been trying to get in contact with me, as he says, yo, Phil. Listen, I'm going to let y'all know something, man. You know, I love my brother Aaron. You know, it's like brother from another. We've been down for about, man, over 20 years now, right? I'm at this stage of life, and I think it took the pandemic. I ain't trying to see nobody. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to see nobody outside of the people that be in and out my house. My one homie came through yesterday, and he was about to walk in, but he realized I'm not here alone. And so that's how they got to see me. You know what I mean? That's how you guys see me. Say I don't pick up the calls. Listen, man, I don't have my ringer on. And I'm just in a pandemic mood, man. You know, I'm in a pandemic mood. I feel like I could get COVID via the telephone. It's like, no, man, unless he said he gonna be here tomorrow. No, man, much love to the good brother. You know, I realized over the weekend that COVID has taken a lot out of me. Probably more than I give myself I don't want to say give myself credit for, but acknowledge that, listen, I've been impacted. I've been influenced by COVID, by the pandemic, not being, I don't want to say good at maintaining relationships that I've had. You know, we're talking about friendships and business relationships. I think it's put a strain on so many of us. And for so long, I would deny the fact that I was impacted. Because why? I'm a homebody anyway. Right, I stay to myself for the most part anyway, especially as I embark on these various journeys, being an entrepreneur, being in school, so where I'm spending a lot of time by myself anyway. But I didn't realize how closed off I've really been, and I think once the world opens back up, for so many of us, we're going to have to adjust to interacting and engaging with people on a more personal, on a more intimate level. Right, I go to the gym, a few times a week. I make sure I social distance. I usually go during off-peak hours where I'm not around people. Rarely do I see people that I know with whom I can have a conversation with. But I mean, when we talk about these actual friendships that I've acquired throughout the years and maintaining those and trying to potentially, garner new relationships, I anticipate it's going to be difficult. Like, you take for granted that we talk to people, for most of us, every day, and that we engage with people in society every day. And now that we don't have it, or it's changed somewhat, it's like we're going to have to get used to that again. We're going to have to go through that social anxiety, being in public spaces, being around a whole bunch of people. I saw a meme about they're going to play Future Mask Off. Listen, y'all got it. Once they say the mask can come off, I'm still going to hold off for a little bit of time because I don't really know what's going on, right? I'm not used to it. I'm used to wearing a mask, engaging with people. It's become like a something of comfort for many of us. So, again, shout out to the homie, to the brother DJ Fishing. If you need to book him for a DJing event, go check out I Am Fishing or DJ Fishing on Instagram. So with that said, we got a dope quick show on tap for y'all tonight. We're gonna be talking about this Soho Karen. We're gonna be talking about this Soho Karen who exudes white privilege, and it's atrocious. It's nasty, and I'll give my thoughts. I'm gonna give you some more words to describe my feelings with regards to this Soho Karen. We're also going to talk about Soul, the movie, and the backlash that the movie has received from intelligent folk, people who I admire, people who I like, but I think they're dead wrong. I'm not going to say they're dead wrong. What I will say is we differ in opinion about the movie, but again, we're going to have that conversation in a little bit. So buckle down. It's January 2021. Can't lie. I mean, I never thought I was going to be 37 years of age. Not because I thought I was going to die at all at any point, but just this idea of growing up. I don't necessarily, and it could be for many of us, we don't necessarily think about the future in this context where, listen, I'm going to actually be 37. We think about those milestone birthdays like 21, 25, 30. Then from 30 it skips to 40, and then 40 it skips to 50. I think 50 is cool now. It's cool to be 50 because at one point you didn't want to tell anybody that you were 50 or in your 60s. I think where we are now is our 40 shit. I'm about to curse. My mama might be watching. I think our 30s looks much different than the generations prior. And I'm sure there's a lot of reasons to that, but I think the stress is different. The demands although many have stayed the same, a lot has changed. And so, yeah, I never thought I was going to be 37. I never thought I'd be 37. And I never thought about the year 2021. But I'm just sitting here rambling. We're gonna get to the goods. So let's talk about this Soho Karen, man. I'm gonna play this video and we're gonna have a discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Soho Karen, aka Maya Ponsetto from California, and her assaulting a 14-year-old child by the name of Keon Harold Jr., whose father, Keon Harold Sr., not that it matters, but is a Grammy Award-winning musician. And so I'm going to play this video for you if you have not seen it. And listen, trigger warning, sensitive content on deck.
Please. Show me this on my phone.
Show me. No.
You don't have to explain nothing to her.
Take the case off. That's mine. Literally, get it back, please.
Are you kidding me? You feel like there's only one iPhone made in the world?
No. Okay, then show me the.
No,
show me all my...
you get a life
Over
Yeah,
there.
no,
What's
go
on your
on.
background?
You better go find my iPhone. Go
Yeah.
do that.
Find my iPhone is on.
Can you
On now.
come in?
Right
No,
now.
you can't. No,
I'm
you
the
can't.
manager of the hotel.
I don't care.
He will
This is
right
my
now.
son.
Hey, and
Didn't you see me just come downstairs out of the fucking elevator?
I'm trying to help. Man.
No, but you're not helping.
I
What
am.
you've been is disrespectful.
No, I'm trying to settle the
No.
situation.
My
asking
son
for-
has nothing to do with her.
No.
I'm trying to figure
yeah,
out what's
but
going
he has
on
my
in the
phone.
lobby.
Then show me the proof. No, he's not leaving. Show me the proof.
Are you
Show me
kidding
the
me?
proof.
You better get on.
I need you away.
Let's go,
I
kid.
need you away.
I'm sorry.
Better get on. We have you see two black people.
No, I'm not letting him walk away with my phone.
You better get on
No,
somewhere,
please
lady.
get my phone back. I cannot not have my phone.
Listen, get your ass on.
And so the video that you've just watched is of Maya Ponsetto of California, again, assaulting the 14-year-old son of Grammy Award winner Keon Harold Sr. His son is a junior, so Keon Harold Jr. was assaulted by Maya Ponsetto. And just in case the video was kind of blurry because it was all over the place, and this occurred at a Soho hotel December 26th. And we're going to get into the details. But I want to play this second video because it further shows the actual assault that took place. And so, as you can see, she went and attempted to tackle Keon Harold Jr. And so, as I said, this happened at a hotel in Soho. I believe it's the Arlo Hotel, a swanky spot where the Grammy Award winner Keon Harold Sr. took his son to spend time with him, to show love to him for the Christmas holidays. Maya Ponsetto, who was not a guest at the hotel that day, she was a guest earlier in the week, apparently lost her phone, her iPhone, and assumed that it was at the hotel. And when she sees Keon Harold Jr. with his iPhone, she rages and goes full Karen, goes full white woman, like we've seen by so many other white women, from barbecue Karen to permit Patty to I don't know, what was Amy Cooper's name? Bird watching B. I don't say the B word. I say unstable creature, like P said in Baby Boy. Unstable creature. And so we've seen this story time and time again, where the white woman claims that she's a victim by the black man and have been perpetrated against by the black man. Again, this predates Maya Ponsetto of California. This goes back to chattel slavery, where white women who wanted to be with the black men accused them of rape when found out that a relationship was taking place, exercising this white privilege that they do so often. And so this situation was no different. She accuses him of stealing her iPhone. And then the Arlo Hotel staff intervenes and says, hey, I'm just trying to see what's going on here. Can we see the phone? Can we see the phone? So not only do you have this irate, raging white woman utilizing her white privilege to garner some type of sympathy, inflicting trauma on these two black men. I don't even want to say black men, because that's one of the problems. We look at 14-year-old black boys in size and stature, and we automatically attribute this term of man to them. No, he's a boy. No, he's a child who's experiencing a traumatic situation, and we'll talk about that. And so a part of her white privilege is to be able to come into a hotel where she is not a guest, cause a fit, and have the hotel staff intervene on her behalf, not on the paying customers. And so thankful Keon Harold Jr. had Keon Harold Sr. present. And not only having Keon Harold Sr. present, but he had the wherewithal to say, hold up. My son isn't taking his phone out of the case. We're not doing this. This is what we're not going to do. He had the ability to advocate for his son. Because so often in these tense situations, us as black folk are taught to just appease white folk. And I've seen it personally, both personally and professionally, where I've seen the most outspoken black mother, the most outspoken black father get into rooms with professionals and they're talked down to, they're talked at. And because of their experiences, they lack the confidence to advocate on their behalf, on their own behalf. And unfortunately, it's been times when I've been in those rooms and observed that where I allowed the expert, the professional to talk to them, down to them. Because I wasn't confident in who I was professionally. I was just happy to be in the room. Happy to get a paycheck. And so here we have this black father who says, nah, whatever you think is going to go down, it's not happening. And no, you're not helping us, Arlo Hotel. I'm the guest here. And so after this situation, come to find out her phone was left in the Uber. And the Uber driver returned the phone. And so with the I'm about to call her Amy Cooper, because they're one and the same. What did Maya Ponsetto do? She doubled down in her whiteness. She doubled down in her privilege. Apologies. Nigger, please. Now, she didn't say nigger, please. But I mean, what else could she say if she's not going to apologize? And they say, well, do you think this was blown overboard? I'm not going to even play that, which TMZ posted today. Do you think you need to apologize? Nigger, please. And so I tried to avoid this because, again, this happened the day after Christmas. The start of Hanukkah. Coochie Jackalea. Or Coochie Jacket Lining. I'm black, so I get to make those type of jokes. And if Coochie Jacket Lining is a Nas reference, so it's all Negro. Right? We all Negro. But this happens on the first day of Kwanzaa. And so when we talk about the white privilege that she has, let's talk a little bit more about Maya Ponsetto, who, and I want to get this right? Because we want to highlight her white privilege. I didn't even put her face on here, but I'm gonna show the video again, which has her face, because she is wanted for questioning. Wanted for questioning by the NYPD. I watched Power. I saw what happened to NYPD and Ramirez. They not gonna do shit. We know what the NYPD is and what they represent as a whole. Defund isn't enough. Abolish the motherfuckers. In my Michael Blackson voice. But I'm gonna play the video again so you can see what white terror, what a white terrorist looks like. Y'all see it. Look at the white woman. Look at her face. Wanted. Call Crime Stoppers. And so, and before I get into her background, salute to listen. Ben Crump is the new Al. I'm about to call him Al Sharpton. He is a little bit Al Sharpton-esque, right? But he the new Johnny. You got beef. We got issues. Hit up Ben Crump. Because he's saying, nah, listen, she needs to be indicted for assault. I don't begrudge him one bit. Hold these white muckers accountable. Hold this white woman accountable for assaulting this child. And I'm sure some extra charges that could be thrown on there too, because he is a child. And so let's get back to this white woman, this face of terror. This isn't the first time she's been wanted for questioning. She's been arrested 2 other times for public intoxication and for DUI. The first time last year, she was pulled over in her Range Rover. Right? In her Range Rover. And salute to people who have Range Rovers. There's Negroes that have Range Rovers. But it all fits. It all fits this story. She was pulled over in her Range Rover. And she admitted to having a Xanax and some wine. Cops asked her to step out so they could perform a field sobriety test. That's when the white privilege kicked in. Her white privilege superpowers kicked in. Ha ha! I'm a white woman, hear me roar. And she flat out refused. Cop said she became downright belligerent. And when they tried putting the handcuffs on her, she threw a tantrum, kicking the ground, throwing herself everywhere and hitting her head on the pavement intentionally. I think at some point we're going to have to address maybe in the DSM-5 revised or the DSM-6. We need Karenism as a diagnosis, specifically for white women who have these type of tantrums as they attempt to exhibit and take advantage of their white privilege. And so with that, she was booked for DUI. She pled no contest and received 3 years probation, 30 hours of community service, and required a 9-month alcohol drug counseling program. Looks like privilege to me. Because if her name wasn't Maya Ponsetto and her name was Moesha Mitchell, she would have been charged with resisting arrest, assaulting a police officer. We know how the game go, baby. We know how the game go. She lucked out. But alas, that wasn't her only time being arrested. Both she and her mother, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because we know white privilege is passed down from generation to generation. Like some hand-me-down socks. Her and her mother, Nicole, walked into the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, where they were visibly intoxicated, inebriated, and they were asked to leave the hotel. Again, opened up the blouse. Karen has arrived. And what happens? The white privilege kicks in. Who the hell are you to tell us to leave? Her mom, Nicole, allegedly pushed and kicked an officer, was arrested for battery of an officer and being drunk in public. Maya was arrested for public intoxication as well. They both pled not guilty and have a hearing next month. So now they're not even trying to act right, fly right. Nah. Habitual offenders. You would think if you're on probation, Could this potentially be a probation violation? Not only this second incident that took place at the hotel, and clearly they have issues with hotels, but also this third incident. Do I think she's going to see jail time? Probably not. We know how this system works. If you turning up in Beverly Hills, you probably got some pull. You guys probably got some power. Or at minimum, you got your whiteness, your white womanness to help you out. But I feel like I talked a lot about her and not about the true victim / survivor in this situation. We're talking about Keon Harold Jr., whose father said today that he's traumatized and that he's seeking therapy for his son. He said his son wonders if he's good enough to own an iPhone or whether he's out of place at a nice hotel. And see, these are the effects of the privilege exhibited by that domestic terrorist, Maya Ponsetto, instilling fear into a black boy, traumatizing a black boy to where he questions his self-worth, whether he belongs in this hotel, this nice little swanky hotel. Maybe I should be at a Holiday Inn. Those are my words, not his. And this is why I salute Father. Father says, I have tried to instill dignity in my son. I'm trying to build his ego. Because for so long, egos of black men have been shattered. Time out. I know it's 2021. I know for the last several years, black men are not allowed to talk about egos being shattered because they also have privilege when compared to their female counterpart, their non-binary counterparts. Can we acknowledge that? Because God forbid I don't acknowledge that. And I just talk about black men not feeling worthy. I know the backlash will come. So I had to get that out in advance. Now back to his point. For so long, black men have had to dumb down their feelings due to unhealthy tenets of masculinity, due to patriarchy. We know we're negatively impacted by it. And then also part of this movement, this shift that's taking place in society, which is indeed necessary. Where black women and black non-binary folk are saying, listen, no, we're here. But also some folk are coming, wielding a big stick. Hit them up with it. Some of these motherfuckers you gotta hit with it. But for some of us who are doing the best that we can with what we have, we're negatively impacted, right? For so long, we've had to internalize these feelings. Hence the reason why it's so important for us to not only go to therapy, right? Because a part of that is whitewashed in this concept and idea of therapy, which we'll unpack at another time. But it's also important for us to check in on our own feelings, check in on our brothers' feelings, our experiences that shape us, that mold us. The mere fact that his son is able to say, listen, I feel unworthy, is powerful. Because for so many of us, we internalize it and continue on about our day to day. We're going to go get an Android. Maybe that's meant for us. We know that's not the case. We know the superior phone. Maybe we won't go to an Arlo hotel. Maybe we'll just stop going to hotels altogether. Maybe we'll stop going to different places that we might want to go to. Maybe we'll stop dreaming. Because for so many of us, we have stopped dreaming because our egos have been shattered. And when we talk about egos, and a brother asked me this question, what did he mean by ego in this context? And now I can't speak for Keon Harold Sr., but I interpret it as being self-esteem, confidence, him trying to build his son up. And he'll be damned if he let this white woman negatively impact him and the work that he's been doing. But unfortunately, she's damaged him. He has been damaged by this incident. And that's why it's so critical for him to seek assistance. Not only with father, with mother, with family, but outside of that. And it's just so unfortunate. Give me a second. I'm trying to see what else I have. This also highlights, and this was a point that I wanted to bring up, and I've been feeling for a while. Trauma doesn't leave because the societal spotlight is no longer there. And so that made me think when he talked about, because again, this happened a week ago. And yes, TMZ might still post something, but the outrage hasn't been like it's been for Christian Cooper and Amy Cooper, the bird watchers, or for Breonna Taylor or Ahmaud Arbery. But there still was a spotlight on it. And so long after the social media tweets and the posts, the Instagram posts stop, the Keon Harold Juniors and seniors and his family, and the families of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and Charlene Lyles and Sandra Bland and Sean Bell and Abdul and man, countless others, the Trayvon Martins. When the cameras are gone, that trauma is still there. And so we have to be mindful of it. We have to be mindful of it when we just post and then we off to the next cause. Just the damage that does. And what really highlighted this for me was after that clown, the Attorney General in Kentucky, announced that there will be no charges against the officers who murdered Breonna Taylor. Within 72 hours, the conversation was gone. The imagery of her face was gone on everybody's platforms. It was like, in my opinion, everybody was just resolved with the system being a system, and we're gonna. And again, this is not for the people who in it. those grassroots folk who doing the work when the camera's not there. Right? We talking about the lay person, the social media justice warrior, even though there is a place for them. But once we go lay back in our bed, we get to start posting about some other shit. Some shit that don't mean nothing. Breonna Taylor's mom still got to deal with the trauma. Her boyfriend still got to deal with the trauma. And so we need to be mindful of that when we start to engage in these movements. How we're showing up. Why we're showing up. Folk were so mad at Christian Cooper when he said, listen, and Christian Cooper is the bird watcher. When it came to Amy Cooper, he's like, listen, man, this has been enough. Listen, I'm cool. Y'all ain't got to press no charges. Because he's the one that got to deal with that shit. Like, he's the one that going to have to give testimony again. He's going to have to relive that trauma again. Not y'all, not us. We get to go to the next cause. The next righteous cause. And so we got to be mindful of that. Yes, I talk about it on Rhetorically Speaking. To have these conversations. To have people think critically. I'm a part of it too. And so I got to be aware. I got to be mindful. I'm not going to just to post. Intentionality matters. And if you're not aware of that, then I don't know what to tell you. And so hopefully justice, you know I don't believe in justice. No such thing as justice in my book, right? It's too many atrocities that have happened over the centuries for there ever to be justice here. But for some accountability, throw that heifer up under the jail. Give her a little light 30 days. Put this on her. What Dean Davenport used to do on Different World. This is going on your permanent record. Put this on her permanent record. Because why? Another black child, another black boy, another black father has been traumatized today. Listen, man, I'm hungry. I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get the soul on Wednesday. Because I want to give it its due diligence. Maybe I could get somebody who differs in opinion with me on my views on soul so we can have this discussion. But listen, tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is part 1 of a dialogue between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. At 6 p.m., I will be showing it on my YouTube channel at Phil MSW. It's a 2-hour program. It's going to be 2 parts. We're playing the first hour tomorrow from 6 to 7. At 7 o'clock, I'll be joined by my good homegirl, Stephanie Joy Tisdale, who is an educator. She got a couple master's degrees, working on a doctorate. And then we also have my favorite Negro professional dancer, Zane Booker, joining me at 7 o'clock so we can break it down. I'm looking forward to this, so I hope you tune in, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace. Arrest that white woman.